Corporate Communism, The Devil's Alliance. That's chapter 8 in my book, The Anti-Communist Manifesto, which I have a copy of now. It's freaking cool, isn't it? The cover, like, it's got a texture to it. I did not know that was something they could do, but it almost kind of feels like leather, but not leather. It's pleather, but it's awesome. Now, let's talk about corporate communism. I've often said corporations being taken over by the communists, it's the second most damaging thing they ever took over. First was the education system, and corporations, as we're about to discuss, corporations are really just downstream of them taking over the education system. But I want you to listen to this little blurb from a world-famous author. Quote, "If controlling the minds of America's youth has been the communists' greatest achievement, then dominating the country's corporations comes in close second. The alliance he has forged with corporate interests has provided a gateway through which he is able to influence everything and everyone." And that really is why it's so damaging. That's why I say it's the second most damaging thing. The influence that comes from it. Take a step back and think about how many different places you see corporate advertising in the course of your daily life. You don't even have to watch TV. I don't really watch TV. How many places do you see corporate advertising? It's everywhere. You pick up your phone and log into your website. You see little pop-up ads all over the place, corporate advertising. Maybe you're watching a video online or on TV, advertising. Maybe you are sitting down to watch the game every single 15 seconds. But let's go to commercial break. Advertising, advertising, advertising. You're driving to work. It's all over the billboards. It's all over everything. It's everywhere. Corporations are everywhere, taking money in and spending that money to influence culture now instead of to sell goods and services. Former KGB spy Yuri Bezmenov really nailed on the head where exactly we are. Tell me this doesn't just about sum it up.
To change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible.
Complete and irreversible. Here's a great example of it. And you know all the LGBTQ numbers you've seen out there recently? We've talked about them a bunch on the show, talking about young people going that way. And it's fascinating. The most recent thing I saw, it was people 60, 70 plus, 0.5%. And then by the time you got down to young people, the number was over 20%. Over 20%. Well, how'd that happen? Is it in the water or something like that? No. Brainwashing. Constant, over and over and over again, not just by our education system, by our corporate system here in America. I'm going to play you something really quickly. It'll be the Bud Light thing. But before we get to that, I just want to point something out. We as a nation have allowed this to happen. We've allowed this to happen. Every single time Pride Month rolls around, corporations will roll out all this endless rainbow propaganda. And then people on the right will point to the same corporation running an ad campaign in Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't look anything like that. And they'll think it points to the hypocrisy of the corporations. You guys are such hypocrites. No, it points to the failure of America to preserve and protect our culture. So now corporate America is totally free in this country to tell you how tranny you should be while you drink beer.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
You can't even have a Bud Light anymore without getting barraged by it. And maybe you're sitting there saying to yourself, hey, Jesse, these corporations, they've just bowed to the pressure. They don't really believe in it. They still care about the almighty dollar first and foremost. Okay. Look, in some cases that may be true. But I think that probably, in fact, I think it definitely undersells how committed the communist is to spreading his religion all over the place. Because when you go into work, you don't go into work and do your daily tasks at work, whatever those tasks are. You don't do them with politics in mind because you're a normal human being. Because of that, you don't think he does. Because it's not something you would do. You wouldn't sit down and write a report for your boss and think about, oh man, I can't wait to vote for Trump this year, or something along those lines. It would never occur to you. You're at work. It's not appropriate. It wouldn't occur to you. But what we must understand and accept as anti-communists is it would never occur to him not to do that. Whatever he's doing, he's going to share his religion. He's going to share his version of the good news, even though it's the worst news humanly possible. When he sits down to write, I don't know, the Disney movies your child watches, he's sitting down with a purpose.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters. Shoot. The 50% of the tears, sorry, are coming. We just don't allow each other to go backwards.
Our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. All that momentum that I felt, that sense of I don't have to be afraid to let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But I just was no one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop.
Wherever I could, adding queerness. You sit down at work and you do your tasks, but corporate America, most of it doesn't think that way anymore. When they sit down at work, they're thinking about things like corporate social responsibility is, I believe, how they put it in the corporate world. Not worried about shareholders or profits. Where can they put some queerness in there? You like what you just saw? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The First TV has a YouTube channel. It's outstanding. Go hit that subscribe button now.